All right, everyone. It is the end of my first year in real estate, and I thought I'd go over some things I learned and some things that really stood out to me in my first year, going into this kind of blind. So, just a little backstory: I was in the painting industry, painting houses and commercial businesses for the past 10 years, and last year, I decided to make a career change at 36 years old, 35, 36 years old. And it was something that I jumped right into. I decided to go head first, not knowing pretty much anything about it other than buying and selling properties myself beforehand. And I learned a lot of lessons this year on what exactly the real estate industry is about. And I haven't figured out everything, obviously. I've figured out some things, but there's still a lot of things that I just have no clue about. I still ask a lot of questions. There's still a lot of things I don't know. But I wanted to get right into 5 things that I learned in my first year. And let me preface by saying that a lot of these things that I learned may change in the future. Because not everything is, black and white. And these are things that I've figured out so far that I think I have an answer to, but I'm hoping to change. And if you have a better response, leave them in the comments and I'll be happy to read them. And maybe it'll change my mind on the things that I've learned. So number 1, no one knows what's going on and it's not your job to know. The biggest thing that I got into real estate for, and one thing I promised myself, is that if I didn't know, I'd say I didn't know. And that's one thing that I did for almost any client that I came across, and they asked me questions. And if I didn't know, I just said I didn't know. And what I realized is that they appreciated that more than me lying or pretending or giving them a bad answer. And a lot of it came down to terminology. When it came down to the deeds and the other paperwork, just paperwork stuff, that if you don't know, just say you don't know. No one cares. And it's not your job to know. It's not your job to know everything. Your job is not to be the paperwork guy. Your job is to not have the answer to everything. Your job is to buy the house or sell the house. Not to know all the details in between. And I'll make another video on how I overcame that. And a lot of that comes down to delegating those responsibilities to other people that are in that profession of knowing those answers. Number 2, there are more deals than you can get to, and you should focus on the people that you can help or that want to hire you. So when I first started, I started cold calling a lot. Even before I had my license, I was cold calling people, telling them I did not have my license, but I just wanted their feedback on what exactly they were looking for. And I'm not shy, so I got a lot of people just told me they didn't want to talk to me, and I was like, okay, whatever, no problem. But one thing I've learned before in business, when I was in business for myself in the painting industry, is that if you get someone you can help them. Don't worry about the people that you cannot help. It is not your job to chase down every single person that you think you could help. Find the ones that you think you could really help, because that specific situation with them is something you can handle. And if you can't handle it, stay out of it. It's not your job, and you're better off suited someone else. And there's so many people out there that need a good realtor, not a bad realtor, a good realtor, that they're willing to hire you without chasing them down the road and calling them back and calling them back and calling them back. You're wasting your time. Focus on the people that you can help and that want your help. And that may require you going through a lot of people to find those people, but you're better off in the end spending your time on those that want and need your help. Number 3, you do not need a mentor. In the real estate world, everybody wants to sell you something, and most of that comes from the mentor programs and the online schools and all of that stuff. I'm not saying mentors aren't great, but you don't need to pay for one. My suggestion to you, if you feel like you need a mentor, is to get one if you absolutely need one, and or just get to know the top producing people in your area. You do not need to pay for it. When I got my license, the first thing I did was call a bunch of people who I saw had a ton of really nice listings, and I just talked to them and asked them what I needed to learn and what I needed to focus on. A lot of it was bad advice, frankly. Some of those people, I knew more about what to do than they did. Some people who are great real estate agents aren't great teachers. Some are great teachers and not great real estate agents. Not everybody who has mentor on their resume is a great mentor, and you don't need them. You're better off getting deals and letting the deal be your mentor. Let the deal teach you. Let the listing teach you what you need to know. By going through the process and not being afraid to say, I don't know, and asking someone for help. That is the best mentoring program that I can recommend to you. Do you need to pay $1,500 a month to be in touch with a billionaire? I don't know. That's up to you. But from my experience, deals in themselves are better mentors than any program or conference than you can go to. That's number 3. Number 4, this kind of ties into with number 3. Top producers are not smarter or better than you. They're just more competitive. If you're getting into real estate and you think that you have to be the smartest person in the world, or that you have to be on top of your game and know every thing about real estate, that's not true. The best real estate agents that I ever met so far, and in my past careers, or just in my life, it's not that they're smarter than you. They don't have better tools than you do. They don't have better marketing than you do. They're just so competitive, they refuse to be last on the list. They refuse to wake up in the morning and not get stuff done. They refuse to get up in the morning and not go to the gym. They refuse to take no for an answer when they're trying to sell a house and someone wants something in the contract and they just won't give it to them, knowing that the deal will get done anyways. Those are the best realtors in my mind. It's not the people who have Ivy League degrees or came from a fancy sports team and they got a great name behind them and etc. Those people do okay. But the real ones that you see do the most, they're just super competitive. And they're just that way. And they've crafted that skill into be successful in real estate. And by the way, this is no different than any business, which ties into number 5. This is across the board in every industry I've ever seen. The best at it are just competitive. So if you have a competitive streak in you, you're going to do really well in real estate. And if you're thinking about getting into real estate, you should, because it's just it's a microcosm of the rest of the industries in the world. And you can do really well at it. So this does tie into number 5. I've been in 3 different industries: the restaurant industry, the construction industry, and now the real estate industry. Number 5 is everything is tough. Real estate is the same as every business. If you take that approach to real estate and you just say, okay, I've done this before, how can I translate my skills from, let's say you were in manufacturing or you were in management. Well, you can transfer all those skills over to real estate. You just can't let it get to your head that real estate's this big thing that you have to know everything, and it's super intimidating, and the customers, it's all the same. If you are a professional dog walker, that is no different than being a real estate agent. And I know that could piss some real estate agents off because we think we're fancy and this job's really important. Everybody's replaceable. Everybody can be fired. There's nothing special about it. When you disarm the real estate industry by looking at it from a pragmatic standpoint of that is no different than any industry, it kind of diffuses a lot of the negatives about the industry, which is what I had to do because I was intimidated by my lack of education. I'm a high school dropout. We're in my home right now, and God's been great to me, and life has blessed me a bunch. So I had a little bit of confidence that I had the chops, if you will, in business to compete. But what I didn't realize is that if you can be good at one thing, you can be good at everything. It's a muscle that you have to build in yourself to accomplish things. I did really well in the painting industry by always taking care of my customers, whether it be giving them refunds, redoing things, making sure my employees were happy. And I always took care of people. If it meant me not making money, but everybody else being happy, I would do it. And I just translated those skills. Now, what did that look like my first year? And you may be wondering, well, if you only did a couple deals, by the way, I know people who've done 50 deals their first year. I wasn't able to do that. My goal was to do 50 deals this year, whether buying or selling. I didn't quite hit that mark. I really only started in March, and it is now November, I think 25th or something like that. And I'm wrapping up my last deal for the year, and I'm kind of taking some time off and not really looking for deals at the moment. I had 25 listings and buyer clients. So that was what I was able to accomplish this year. I had 15 closings. Now, that's a lot less than I thought, but at the beginning, I got a lot of crap listings that I should not have taken, that I actually sold, but we had either deed issues or the client that I had or that was buying didn't want to accept the price, even though the economy was tanking at the time. And it just didn't work out. And I ended up letting go of those clients and just letting go of the properties. I didn't want to deal with it anymore. It was not worth the headache. And that should be another thing, is you learn that not all deals are good deals. That could be a separate video, and I plan on making a video about that, but not every deal is a good deal. You can just waste your time on a deal and make nothing. And if you want to do that, that's fine, because sometimes you do get more marketing out of a bad deal that can turn into another customer, but still you should focus on the customers that want your help and will accept your help and that you can make money from. If we go to closing this next month on this last deal, which, Keller Williams makes this public, so I don't feel bad sharing, I'll make roughly $187,000 this year. So it's not a bad year. I plan on doubling that next year, and I plan on doing a lot better next year. If I can double it or more than double it, that'd be great. But these are the big things that I learned. And I think it's important to share these things because there's not a whole lot of information out there about what actually is important in real estate. It seems like every real estate video, someone's trying to sell you a mentoring program or some sort of real estate school. You don't need all that stuff. What you need to do is get off your butt. You need to go talk to people and be honest with them and tell them exactly what you can do. Cold calling works, but keep in mind, every listing and every buyer client is a lead portal. Every listing, when you get a call from an individual that doesn't have a realtor, that's your next client. Every time someone calls you about a listing, but that listing just isn't quite for them, that's your next buyer client. Every time you get a buyer client, guess what? They're going to want to sell their house probably in 5 years. And you need to make sure you take extremely good care of them. I have a couple different rules. I always answer my phone, and I always show up on time, and I always do what I say I'm going to do. If you can adopt those principles, you're going to be very good at real estate, because the average real estate agent doesn't answer the phone, doesn't show up on time, and doesn't do what they say they're going to do. So always keep those things in mind. Work really hard on those things. Don't worry about the other stuff. Don't worry about if you don't know what's in a title search. Don't worry about what happens at closings. Don't worry about the paperwork. Don't focus on those things. Focus on what you can do and what you're good at, and then take that to your client, express that to them, what you're good at, and then accomplish that for them because you said you were going to do it. I hope this helps. If you want more content like this, I'll be happy to make it. But I wish you the best in real estate. You're going to do great. If you do what you say you're going to do, you wake up every morning and you dedicate yourself to making it happen by talking to people and doing what you say you're going to do. I wish you the best.